June 2027 for this. Yeah.
2027. Okay. So just for both of you, I just need to mention that the target of the, okay, first let me introduce myself. My name is Uswa Andali. And if you join the session, I am going to conduct the session for mathematics and physics. All right. So first, just I need to mention this thing that whosoever is gonna join this session in specific, it's a request for both of you to, if you can like kind of mute your mics, it would be a bit easy for all of us. Okay. So those who are going to like join this session, we are going to complete the course before the examination of May June 2026. So basically our goal is that we complete the course before the examination, and we complete all the past papers and each and everything, so that by the time we reach for the exams, everything is like properly prepared, our mock exams are done and each and everything is done. So this is the case. For February, I guess that's fine because you are going to appear for May, June 2026. Now, well, you can have a good course preparation till 2026, and you can utilize your next year for more revision. If you are going to like appear in 2027, it will be a plus for you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and the one more thing is that I just want to reconfirm for both of you guys that you are from IGCSE or O levels.
Like my some books are of IGCSE, but I am from O level only.
Okay, you are going to appear in O level exam, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the rest for Buri, you
For what was the
have.
question again? So,
I'm just asking that whether you are from IGCSE or O levels.
IGCSE,
Yeah, you
IGCSE.
are from the extended course. Okay, perfect. Right. So without wasting any time, I'm gonna just start with it. And the first thing, one more thing, just confirm me. You are gonna appear for. Okay, let's leave it. I am basically going to give the demo for two subjects here for today. It's for mathematics and physics. Okay. Before that, there is a small portion of the orientation that I'll just show you guys in order to just understand, or for you to understand that what is the pattern of studies at our academy. Okay. And after that, there will be one topic for mathematics that I'll guide you guys, or I'll give a demo on that, and there will be a topic for physics on which I'll give a demo. Okay. So you guys can get an idea that what is the pattern of study, or if you are comfortable with studying with us or not. Okay, both of you got it. Now you guys.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now you guys have to just give me a second.
Okay.
All right. Sorry. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, perfect. So it's basically, let me change my screen. It's gonna be orientation session for you. It's the orientation. Yeah. So they basically this is the orientation for mathematics, and in mathematics for O levels, it's the core. You already know that the person who is in like IGCSE 3, they'll realize that it's 0580 for IGCSE and 4024 is code for O level. These are some of the basic things that you guys might know already, or you have known it from your school teacher or some other sources, but it's the part of like orientation that I have to brief few things. Okay. So 4024 is for O levels, and IGCSE it's 0580. As far as I am as a tutor considered, my qualification is I have done BS in mechatronics and control engineering, and there after that I did my master's in electrical engineering. And as far as teaching the students is concerned, I am teaching students since 2017. So that is my overall experience. All right. And my major subjects are physics and mathematics. I do teach computer sciences at times, but major subjects are mathematics and physics. All right. Now I'll move. You people got it at this point. If you are okay, you can just type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and answer the questions. Okay, that's fine. All right. Now, there is just a small brief introduction to the exam pattern, because as far as the mathematics thing is concerned, in mathematics in the past year, like the exam that is going to appear in May, June 2026, in that there has been a small change in the paper pattern, because not even in the paper pattern, but also in the syllabus. Okay. So basically for IGCSE, you have to appear for the paper 2 and paper 4, right? And paper 2 is your non-calculator based paper, whereas paper 4 is the calculator based. In past, the IGCSE students were allowed to use calculator in paper 2, but now it has changed and they are not allowing you to like use calculator in paper 2. So it has gonna be a bit tricky. Now both the papers in previous as per previous curriculum, the paper 2 held like less importance, but now both of them have like 50% weightage. Okay, rest of the things you can see, paper 2 is of 2 hours and the total weightage is 100 marks. Okay, so this goes for the IGCS. Paper 2 and paper 4. Paper 2 is non-calculator based, paper 4 is calculator based. Both papers hold equal weightage, so you have to give equal weightage to both the papers. Regarding the structured and non-structured thing, I'll tell you both guys together that what are structured and unstructured question. Okay, now if I move towards the paper pattern of O levels, Nawal, you have to like appear in paper 1 and paper 2. Your paper 1 is like non-calculator based. You are not allowed to use calculator in that, while in paper 2 you can use a calculator. Okay, similarly rest of the things are all same as IGCSE, like it's a 2-hour paper, and the weightage is 50% for both of that. Okay, you got it, both of you?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, you keep yourselves unmute and just tell me if you have any concept about structured and unstructured questions. What type of questions are structured and what type of questions are unstructured? I'll obviously explain each and everything. I'm just trying to get an idea if you guys have any knowledge about it.
My
Basically,
my teacher haven't told me the different yet, so I don't really know about it.
okay, that's fine. Basically, each and everything you are going to like gonna learn over here. So basically, as far as the structured questions are considered, have you ever seen word problems that
Yes.
have like parts? For example, a word problem. So please don't mind my writing today. My writing pad is not available. Anyways, so word problems are like we have parts A, B, C, D. So in what happens when I calculate the answer of part A, na, the answer of part A is like utilized in calculating the answer of part B, and then the answer of part B is utilized in calculating the answer of part C. Like if I calculate part A wrong, then part B and part C are gonna be wrong. Okay, so it's like that the answer of the next part is dependent upon the previous part. Such type of questions are called structured question. Okay, got it?
Yes.
Yeah, and unstructured questions are like the single question in which there are no parts are included, and you can utilize your own method. When you are solving a mathematics question, now there is possibility that you can solve one question by multiple ways. Okay, for example, if I have to do the factorization, I have the possibility that I can do factorization by using midterm break. I can use quadratic formula. I can use some other method like taking common or something else. So it is my way of solving a question. I can solve it in either way. So these unstructured questions are without parts, and it depends upon your intuition that how you are going to solve the questions. Unstructured question answer is all alone. It doesn't depend upon any answer. So both type of questions are included in paper. Like in case of February, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm really sorry. It's February, I guess.
Okay.
In
It's okay. It's okay.
February. Really
Yeah,
sorry.
February. Yeah.
February. Okay, in that case, your paper 2 and paper 4 will have structured and unstructured questions, whereas paper 1 and paper 2 of Naval will have will have unstructured questions and structured questions both. So when we are like preparing the past papers, you will be provided with both type of questions, and obviously I will guide you how to solve those questions. And by the time we are done, you will be able to solve questions yourself as well. So this was bit of the demo about the, sorry, information about the paper pattern. As far as I talk about the changes that have occurred in the syllabus, is that IGCSE 0580 following topics are like included now. uh, eh, these changes are like not as such we can say proper changes, but these changes have been like introduced under certain names, like under root with non-square integers were all was already there, but now this it has given the name of surds. We are obviously going to study all of these topics, but I'm just telling you over here that what are the syllabus changes. Like surds has been included now, it wasn't there, as the terminology surd was not there in the syllabus. Similarly, this third thing now is also included now in O levels. For Naval, it's also included here as well. For both IGCSE and O levels, they were included certs. Now, for IGCSE, it's a bit tricky. Like you have been now required to learn the exact trigonometric ratios. Like you must know that what is sine 30, what is cos 60, and these, it's a complete table. When you study, I'll provide with you with the complete table. So you must learn the tables. Now they will not provide you values. They might give you such questions in the non-calculator based paper where you are not allowed to use the calculator to find the values. So you have to like now memorize the trigonometric values. So domain range concept, domain is basically the value of x in function and y in function. Domain range concept is also included. And there is a little bit of change in the graphs as well. Like some powers of n have been included. 1 by 2 and minus 1 by 2 are now like included in the syllabus. So these are the 4 topics that were not there in the syllabus exactly or in detail, but now they are included in the syllabus in quite a lot of detail. Okay, so this is the thing for the addition part. For the removal part, it's like linear programming. This is linear programming is nothing, these are just the word problems of inequalities, like greater than and less than. The word problems that involve greater than and less than, those word problems are like removed. Congruency criteria is like removed. It was the concept in which they were given 2 triangles and we were asked to like prove the congruency of the 2 triangles. That proving part has been eliminated from the syllabus, and now you only just have to develop the concept that what does actually congruency means, but you are not required to prove it. So that is like removed. Then the statistical diagrams, box and whiskers has been removed. So this is not our concern. What has been removed has been removed. We are not going to go in deep into this. So this is our concern now. So whenever these topics are like coming in the syllabus, I'm going to explain each and every topic to you. Obviously, along with the other topics of the syllabus, this will be explained as well. Okay, so this is for the IGCS February. This is for your part. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now let's move towards the novel. For today, this is going to be O level and IGCSE only. Moving forward, it will not be a problem. You will not feel that you are studying in a class of IGCSE or Naval is going to study in the class of like IGCSE or February is attending the class of O levels. I'll explain you how this is gonna work. Here, anyways, Naval, for you, surds are included, exponential growth and decay are included. You have to now plot the graph of growth graphs and decay graphs, then recurring decimals, the numbers with the point, and their conversions are now like included. So only these of the 3 topics are included. It was a very good topic. Matrices, a very easy topic, but they have like removed the matrices from O levels now. Loci has been removed, and similarly like IGCSE, congruency, proving of congruency of triangles has been removed. So only 3 of those topics are like included in the syllabus of O levels. So that is it for the paper pattern. Okay, Naval? Sorry, not for the paper pattern, for the syllabus. Now, if I move towards the actual syllabus contents that are provided on the website of IGCSE, if I move towards that, these are these contents, and I have listed them together because you can also go and check on the website, but in actual, there is no difference in the syllabus. You obviously both of you are going to appear for the separate papers. Naval is for paper 1 and paper 2, and February is for paper 2 and paper 4. But the course contents are same. For IGCSE, there is only one difference or two differences are over there when we go to the mensuration part, and it's a differentiation thing. Differentiation is a bit more extended in IGCSE. Overall, it's not. And one more thing I have to mention over there is that paper 1 of O levels, and this is IGCSE. Paper 1 of O levels resemble with the paper 2 of IGCSE, and paper 2 of O level resembles with the paper 4 of IGCSE. Like when we are preparing the past papers, obviously we need more and more of the questions from the past papers to practice. So we mix and match the questions for both O levels and IGCSE just to provide you complete command on each and every topic. Okay, and you see this paper 1 and paper 2 for both of you are like non-calculator based papers, so they are resembling a lot. So it will go like this. Syllabus contents are not same. In the difficulty level, there will not be much difference between O level and IGCSE. So we'll go side by side. Okay, so this is gonna be how we are going to conduct the classes. Now, if this has been all the things that I have mentioned over here, the contents and the paper pattern and each and everything is available on the IGCSE website or Cambridge, sorry, website. You can go over there and you can check from that. Now, I'm just going to tell you that what I can offer you from here. First thing is that my method of teaching you will be like that. I'll take a topic. Obviously, we'll go in the sequence. I'm not breaking the sequence. We will start with numbers and we will end at statistics. Okay, we will go in the sequence, and obviously each topic has multiple subtopics in it. If you move towards the Cambridge website, now you'll find each topic is like broken down into multiple subtopics. So we will cover each and every topic from there. So I'll take one topic and I will explain that topic to you during the class. We have 1.5 hour class each day. Okay, so I'll explain you the topic, and after the topic I'll solve few questions for you, and the questions will be from the model question paper answers, model papers as well, and along with the past papers as well. Okay, and what we do is that we try to complete all the almost 5 to 6 year past paper questions along with the topic. So it goes like that. By the time our syllabus is like completed, our past papers are also completed. Like the major portion of the past paper is already done. So it's like that by the end of the, like when we are left with 1 to 2 months, it's just the mock exams that we are conducting. And during that time, obviously, with each exam, we'll check it and we'll discuss with you, and you can get an idea. Yeah, like it will elaborate your skills a lot. Okay, it goes like that. So what this is my way of teaching that I was telling you. And now what else I can offer you is that we have the resources here. If you develop, like we have developed a Google Drive folder over here, and each and every one of you will be like provided with the link of this folder, and their notes are available. Each and everything that is discussed in the class will be added in the notes section. Then the lecture that is being conducted will be like recorded, and then we have a homework section. Like homework is given like this. I'll show you where it is. It's here. Like after every topic, like we have, if classes on Monday and Tuesday, it's 1.5 hour class on Monday, 1.5 hour class on Tuesday. Then after that, for 2 days, Thursday and Friday, no, Wednesday and Thursday, I'll give you a homework, okay? And that you have to submit it with the deadline. Like by Friday, you have to submit it, okay? You will solve that on any register or anything. Take a picture of it. You can WhatsApp me, you can email me. I'll check it back to you and I'll return it. If you have any problems, you can discuss during that time. You can WhatsApp me, you can email me. I'll respond you. Okay? So homework will be given along with each topic, and you have to properly like solve the homework. If you completely maintain a record of it, now by the end of the time, when you reach the end of the syllabus, trust me, you will have a perfect like practice of each and every topic, the past papers and the model questions and each and everything. Just if you maintain a bit of discipline and maintain your homework and the classwork that is like being done in front of you in the class. Even I also ask the students to maintain the classwork notes as well. That helps you to, like, whenever you want to revise any topic, you go back to that topic, you will find multiple past paper questions and homework thing that you can easily try. Okay, so this is the homework portion. Homework will be uploaded over there. Then we have books. These are some regular course books that are available. Apart from them, we have solved past paper books as well. So books will be uploaded in the book section. Anytime you can access them. Then these are the assessments. Assessments are like conducting in a way that every after 4 lectures, we conduct a very small assessment that is as per the criteria, and marking is also as per the criteria of Cambridge. Then after every 12 lectures, there is an assessment. Then after 3 months, there is an assessment. So there are multiple assessments. Normally, it works like that. On Monday, Tuesday, we have the class, and obviously, I have to ask from you guys on which day you are free. Like on Friday or Saturday, I have a 1.5 hour class with you in which you have to solve an assessment. The assessment will be displayed in front of you, and you have to like solve it. So 2 days are for the learning, and the third day is for the assessment. For the beginning week, obviously, the first week will never not be an assessment because you have not covered much of the syllabus. So by second or third week, we will like start this assessments. It's a 3 day class in a week, 1.5 hours, and 6 hours are dedicated for studying and understanding concepts and solving questions. And the last 1.5 hours are dedicated for the assessments. Those assessments are obviously marked. Those assessments are given to you for a limited period of time. Like if it is a 1 hour 30 minutes assessment, then you have to complete it within the time. Just making it a time bound, because obviously you have to solve the paper, so you become a bit disciplined with that. I'm just mentioning these things to you because when you are actually in the physical classroom in front of the teacher, the things are very different. I am like in front of you, I can make you do that, I can keep an eye on you, and when I'm looking at you guys, I from the facial expression of the students, I'll get an idea the student is able to understand or not. But obviously when it comes to the online thing, I'm unable to see you, and obviously I'm unable to understand whatever you are speaking is just the source of guidance for me that you are able to get my point or not. So it goes like this, that homework and assessments are maintained over here very strictly, just to make sure that you are on a way. Like if you go from here after studying 1 year and you are not like going to score A or A's direct, then obviously it's like a bad mouthing for me or my academy as well. So we all obviously maintain it students like solve each and everything properly, and they get to know that what is happening. Okay, sorry. So this is it for the Google Drive thing. You will be given the access. Homework will be uploaded on there. This assessment thing I've already told you that after 4 lecture, after 12 lecture, after 3 months, and there is a full syllabus mock exam. So this will be done. This all of these slides will be provided to you if you join the class. Okay. Then these are online support. You can WhatsApp me. I'm mostly available most of the day. Even in the night hours, I'm available because I have to teach in the night hours as well. So you can WhatsApp me if you are if you want any homework support or any support, or if you are studying in any school and you are finding any problem of solving any question, you can reach me out and I'll help you. This is the timetable, and it's a tentative timetable, but I guess classes are like going to be done on Monday and Tuesday, and we are going to start from 1st of November, and 1st of November is the deadline, because after that time will be very short to complete the course for May June. At least the person who has to pay for May June, the time is gonna get very short. So this is it for the orientation session, and I'll just mentioning here that if you are going to continue with the demo of the physics, I'll just eliminate this section of orientation in the physics section, so we can save time over there. Okay, up till now, is it clear everything, or you guys are feeling a bit sleepy?
Yeah, yeah, clear.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Naval, you are also clear?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the I have basically, yeah, Naval.
It's Nawal, not
Oh,
Naval.
sorry, really sorry, Naval, really sorry, Naval. Okay, so here is the topic. I have actually picked up a topic. Obviously, when we start the classes, I'll start from numbers. the first topic of the Cambridge course is numbers, but I haven't taken out that topic because that topic was too simple, and you have already studied it even in grade 6 or 7. But I have taken out the topic surds over here just to give you the idea, the way of teaching. After that, if you join the classes, it will be a regular thing and we'll follow the syllabus. So surds is the topic that has been newly included both in O levels and IGCSE. Okay, and before I start the search, so here the definition is written just for your reference. I'm going to explain it properly, that what it is. Let me take out my pen. Okay, so as per definition, it says is that a surd is a square root of non-square root numbers. First, let's talk about three things. Integers, sorry. Square root. This is the square root sign. You all know that, I guess, but I'm just revising it a bit. So this is a square root sign, and as far as I am concerned about the index or power of it, index, ex, or power of it, the power of this sign is 1 by 2. Just to mention that I'm mentioning here. So when we are constructing a surd, it has this sign. This is the first thing, square root. Okay, this sign. Then it says non-square. What is non-square? For understanding the concept of non-square, it is very important to understand the concept of square. Like square NO, I'm writing NO for number. Square numbers are those numbers which are achieved by multiplication of two same numbers. For example, 2 into 2 is 4. So 4 is a square number. 3 into 3 is 9. So it is a square number. When I'm talking about a non-square number, it means number other than these numbers, like 5. There is no number that we multiply together and we get 5, right? So 5 is a non-square number. So it is basically a square root of a non-square number. What can be non-square number? 5. It doesn't come in the table of any two similar numbers. What it can be? 6. It doesn't come in the table. 2 3s are 6, but 2 and 3 are not same numbers. 6 1s are 6. 6 and 1 are not same numbers, right? 7. And there are many other numbers. So these all numbers are non-square numbers. First, tell me if you got my point up till here.
Yes.
Okay, Nawal. Okay. And you as well, February? Okay,
Yes.
after the, yeah, perfect. I don't have a paid version of this Zoom. So if the meeting ends after 10 minutes, you can utilize the same link to join the meeting again. Okay, so in the definition of the search, I have like utilized two of the words, square root and the non-square number. The third thing is the integer. Now I expect from you guys that you tell me something about integers. You can tell me the definition of integer, or you can tell me the example of integer, anything, if you can tell me. Any example or anything. What do you think integer is? Is it a positive number? Is it a negative number? What type of number is an integer?
Whole number.
Yeah, whole number, very right. Whole number is a separate category because whole numbers, February, are the numbers that are only considered to be positive. It's not negative, is not included in the whole number. As far as integer, at least you have like participated, it's a good thing. I say that all the positive and negative numbers are integers, but no decimal, like no point number, and no fraction number is included. Like 2 is a what integer, minus 2 is an integer, but 2.1 is not an integer. 2 over 3 is not an integer. Nawal, do you want to add something?
About the integer, it is the whole number, like it can be positive and negative.
Yeah, very right, perfect. Yeah, very right. So we are going to say over here that the numbers, non-square numbers that are going to come under the under root signs are non-square as well as integer. Like under the under root sign, we only have non-square integers. These numbers are not fractions, like in the form of P over Q, and these numbers are not point numbers. Like 2.11 under root is not a surd. Okay, now look at the example. These are not surds. Under root 16, he is saying under root 16 is not a surd. Why? Can you tell me which two numbers do we multiply and get 16?
4.
Yeah, very right. So it comes out to be like that. And if I move towards the solution, it becomes 4 into 4. And you know the science behind this under root sign, that from the under root sign, if we do the pairing of 2, then only one number comes out. So we are able to like solve it into this number. So this is not a surd. The number has to be a non-square number, and we have put a square number into the bracket. So that's not a surd. Then look at that. He has included a fraction number under the under root sign. This is not a surd. We are saying 2 over 3 is not an integer. Then how can it be a surd? If it is non-integer, it's not a surd. Then he has included a point number 6.23. It's a point decimal number. It's not an integer. No, Z is the symbol of integer. It's not an integer, so it is also not a surd. So here is the basic definition of surd that I have explained to you. Maybe you can you be asked about the small questions you are given, like under root 10 over 17, and he asks you whether it's a 1 mark question, and he says whether it is a surd or not, and you'll say no, it's not a surd. If he gives you under root 0.07, and he asks you if it is a surd, you'll say no. He gives you under root 25, you know that it's under root 5 into 5, and then its answer is 5. You have put a square number in the under root sign, so it is not a surd. If it gives you 10 over 11, then it is not a surd. Okay, so questions can come like this. But basically, when specifically we move towards the paper 4 or short unstructured questions, then what happens, a bit of the complexity starts coming in the surds. But before we move towards that complexity, it is very important to understand some skills that are related to the concept of surds, that how we add them, how we multiply them and divide them. Quickly, I'm gonna give you an overview of the skills. Okay, so here is the first skill. You might know about these skills because you may have studied in a grade 6 or grade 7, but I'm just giving you an overview. Obviously, it's the part of the syllabus and I have to cover it all. So if they have given an example over here, and I'll solve it in front of you by taking an example. For example, it's under root 5 into under root 7. Okay, both of these are surds. Under root 5 is a surd, under root 7 is a surd. So how can I solve it? It gives me to solve it. It's easily solvable. I can put it under a single square root sign. So it can be put like this, like he has put A and B under the same bracket over here. So the answer is like under root 35. So this is a very simple multiplication skill that you must know before you jump into complex questions of surds. Okay. After the multiplication, I'm just moving a bit quick over that because I assume maybe you know about it. Okay. Once I earn the skills things, I'll go back and ask you guys if you have any problem or not. Let me just finish 2 to 3 things. Similarly, as the multiplication, the division can be taken as the single under root sign. Like I say, under root 3 over under root 2, there is a possibility for me that I can write it as like that. If I am given some solvable factor like under root 10 over under root 5, then I can write it as under root 10 over 5, and the answer is under root 2. 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10. Okay, so division and multiplication of the surds can be done under the single square root sign. And I'm typically mentioning here division and multiplication. This doesn't hold true for addition and subtraction. It is the using a single surd sign is strictly related to division and multiplication. I'll show you for the addition thing as well. This is going to be the skill 3. He says that you are given like this. For example, I am given under root 2 plus under root 2. Every number has a coefficient, like it's 1 and 1. It makes 2 under root 2. 1 is the coefficient over here, 1 is the coefficient over here. So 1 plus 1 makes it 2 under root 2. Okay, you can add two sets like this, but it is compulsory that the number, the integer that is being used inside the square root sign is same. For example, if it is under root 2, under root 3, now it is not possible for me to write it as under root 5. No, no, no. You can't write it like 2 plus 3. No. In addition, you can't make it a single under root sign like you have made it in multiplication and division. So the answer to under root 3, under root 5, under root 2, under root 5 is wrong. This is not possible. So in addition and in case of subtraction, this using a same under root sign is not possible. Okay, let's take this example that he has quoted over here. 5 under root b minus 2 under root b. Now you look at the two factors and you look at the third thing over here. The under root b is like common in both. So what I do while calculating such questions, I take under root b common. So from this expression, under root b is like taken out. So what is like remaining? 5 is remaining. Then here comes the sign of the question, that is minus. Then under root b is like taken out. Then what is like remaining? 2. Right? So the answer becomes like 5 minus 2 is 3. I can write it like 3 under root b. Okay, so such type of calculations are like done like this. These are just skills. Obviously, we are going to like solve the questions, but up till here, these are just skills. So I have explained you 3 skills. One is for addition, second is for multiplication. 3 skills, sorry. Multiplication, division, then addition, and subtraction. If you are like clear up till this point of time, please let me know.
It's clear. It's clear.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Okay. 1 second. Right. Nawal, you are also clear?
Yes,
Okay.
it's clear, but I have a question.
You have a what?
Question.
Yeah, sure. Ask the question.
In skill 2 of like division, you have cut it 5 and 10. So you said that answer will be under root 2. So we will write the root 2 or under